I've been hearing a lot of people say that 2019 was a bad year for gaming, and today I'd like to make the case for why they are wrong. Objectively wrong. By looking at a few of the awesome games I found time to play last year.
More like running.
Yeah, good call.
I remember many nights in the late 90s when my friends and I would all play Resident Evil 2 together, so there's a fair deal of nostalgia that this game packs for me, but unlike recent entries to Terminator, Ghostbusters, Jurassic Park, and Star Wars, Resident Evil 2 Remake is nostalgia done right. It keeps the core structure and story of the original game unscathed, while modernizing the graphics, gameplay, and presentation to arguably above what modern standards for a game should be. The RE engine is so beautiful and runs so well that I'm honestly shocked Capcom hasn't started licensing it out. It's truly stunning to behold, but if you're a scaredy cat, don't play this game. Mr. X will haunt your dreams. However, if you've got the guts to face the horrors of the Raccoon City Police Department, Resident Evil 2 is a tense game full of amazing atmosphere, solid combat mediated by the perfect amount of resource management, and a story which holds up, even 2 decades after the original PlayStation version released. Resident Evil 2 Remake is available on Steam, PS4, and Xbox One. This was the right cross to the jab Capcom threw with Resident Evil 2 this year, but rather than a remake of a classic game, Devil May Cry 5 is a sequel to the original canon of the Devil May Cry series after the mixed reaction to Ninja Theory's reboot. Which honestly I loved, so I wasn't among the people rejoicing the return to the original timeline, but Capcom allayed all worries I had when I started playing. This game rocks. It's a shockingly fun and deep character action game with plenty of combos to learn, 3 characters to master, and Adam Driver's best performance of 2019. Not actually Adam Driver, but man, V sure does look like him. It's also running on the RE engine, and like Resident Evil 2, it's a stunning sight to behold. Devil May Cry 5 is available on Steam, PS4, and Xbox One. This is the only Epic Game Store exclusive which I played this year because I was lucky enough to have pre-ordered it on Steam before Epic decided to start making the PC ecosystem more anti-consumer than it's been in a decade. I will fight you, Tim Sweeney? Tom Sweeney? What is he? Tim. Who cares? He sucks. Industry concerns aside, the Metro games are all fantastic and Exodus is no exception. It's the most ambitious game of the 3 and it continues Artyom's story. This time, rather than being stuck in the Metro tunnels and taking quick trips to the surface, the vast majority of the game takes place in wide open environments. The first-person stealth is great, the shooting mechanics are solid, and the resource management makes especially the higher difficulties incredibly immersive. All of this is set to a fantastic story with an extremely likable cast of characters, so if you missed it last year or were just waiting for it to be released for new purchase on Steam, give Metro Exodus a shot. But be sure to play 2033 and Last Light as well. You can even get those on GOG, the best store. You can also find the whole trilogy on PS4 and Xbox One. I play a lot of first-person shooters, and one of my favorite subgenres is the retro shooter. A Medieval is one such game, taking the old-school speed of games like Quake and Doom, then setting it in a fantasy world where different colors of mana power a variety of magic weapons, similar to the Heretic and later Hexen games. While some of the weapons handle similarly to shooter weapons you might be familiar with, such as the shotgun-like Morningstar, or the planet-launching staff which essentially serves as the rocket launcher, others are incredibly creative like the Aquaman Trident, which is weak, but casts a devastating chain lightning spell when you overdamage an enemy to death with it. A Medieval is the best first-person shooter which came out last year and is available on Steam and GOG. Yeah, Modern Warfare, you are alright, A Medieval was better.
I like to think of myself as a bit of an artist. Now, I know Picasso, but, well, I guess you'll find out.
Not to be outdone by a Medieval, or at least not by much. I mean, I did just say a Medieval was 2019's best shooter. Another fantastic retro shooter came out last year, Ion Fury. Originally called Ion Maiden before a similarly titled band got lawyer mad at them, this game was made on the Build engine, which is the game engine that powered Duke Nukem 3D, Blood, and the original Shadow Warrior. 3D Realms did an awesome job at making the engine look and feel very modern. The Loverboy pistol's lock targeting is incredibly satisfying, and while the humor rarely hits the bullseye, the solid level design and top-notch shooter gameplay make it a game you should definitely check out if you want to play a good old-school shooter. Ion Fury is available on GOG and Steam. Castlevania Symphony of the Night is one of the best games ever made, and its creator, Koji Igarashi, kickstarted this fantastic spiritual successor a few years ago. The graphics use 3D polygons, but it plays across a 2D plane and mixes elements of all the best Igarashi Castlevania games into an original property, which I really hope turns into a long-running series of its own. Maybe with a badass Netflix anime of its own. Please come out soon, Season 3. The Nintendo Switch version is not good, so I don't recommend playing it there, but if you have a PC, PS4, or Xbox One, Ritual of the Night's action, exploration, and surprisingly deep systems and side quests make Bloodstained Ritual of the Night absolutely worth your time. On my channel, you'll find an impressions video I made of this game, as well as a full review of its Kickstarter stretch goal side story minigame, Curse of the Moon, if you'd like some more information on the series. But spoiler alert, you should play Curse of the Moon, it's awesome. I played this game late in the year, and when I did, it really impressed me. It's often described as Gun Souls in that it takes a lot of elements from the Dark Souls games, but rather than swords and sorcery, you've got guns and sorcery. The game is structured like a Diablo title and plays like a cross between a modern Resident Evil game and Gears of War. There are 4 distinct-looking worlds to explore with randomly generated dungeons, tons of weapons, perks, and spells to unlock, and the game feels amazing to play. I haven't got around to going through the game with a friend, but it's designed with multiple playthroughs in mind, has 3-player online co-op, and runs like a dream on PC. So if you're looking for a solid, affordable dungeon crawler that you can play with some friends, check out Remnant from the Ashes. It's available on Steam, PS4, and Xbox One.
I can smell something cooking. Is it fair?
Doesn't sound like a fair. Good lord.
The second video I ever made was initially just a challenge to see if I could get a review done within a game's launch window, but I ended up really loving A Plague Tale: Innocence. From a gameplay standpoint, it's a stealth action puzzle game, but it's primarily a linear narrative adventure in which you, as a 16-year-old girl named Amicia, protect your brother Hugo on a journey through the 14th century French countryside, in the middle of both a plague and a religious inquisition. The atmosphere and visuals are shockingly good for a low-budget game, the puzzles are clever, making you use the torrents of rats you encounter in some really interesting ways, and the subtle dark fantasy elements are very well done. You can check out my full review on my channel, and the game should now be at a price point which makes it a must-play, so if you're looking for a tight narrative experience you can kill a weekend with, A Plague Tale: Innocence might be for you, and is available on GOG, Steam, PS4, and Xbox One. This is far from a new game, but Halo Reach finding its way to both the Master Chief Collection on Xbox One and onto the PC for the first time via Steam in the Windows Store reminded me why I used to love the Halo games so much. Halo 5 did a good job of making me forget. The story is amazing, even if it does create some narrative dissonance with Eric Nyland's incredible Fall of Reach novel, but the missions are arguably the best designed in the series, and the creative combat puzzles this game presents you with, particularly on Legendary difficulty, are a joy to solve. I've yet to get around to tackling a full video on it, but I did stream a bunch of it with my buddy Fonz and Australian YouTube sensation Anomaly Inc., so feel free to check out the VODs on my channel's gaming streams playlist. Halo Reach is available as part of the Master Chief Collection on Steam, Windows 10 Store, and of course, Xbox One. This is the first good single-player Star Wars game we've gotten since The Force Unleashed in 2008. It probably doesn't need as much of an introduction to all of you geeks and gamers, but in short, it's a cross between a modern Tomb Raider game and a Dark Souls game set in the Star Wars universe. I think if you haven't played the game yet, it'd probably be best to wait for a sale, as the game has some technical issues which I imagine will be worked out over time, but if you do want to give it a shot, you'll still find a solid Star Wars story with compelling combat and fantastic environmental design. My full review of Jedi Fallen Order can be found on Geeks and Gamers if you'd like to hear my long-form thoughts, and it is available on Origin, PS4, Xbox One, and Steam, although the Steam version just kind of boots up Origin, so the only real benefit to buying it on Steam is that you're giving 30% of your sticker price to Valve instead of EA. Which isn't nothing, but it also makes the game boot up a little slower, so how badly do you want to hurt EA? Similar to Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, Blasphemous takes a lot of cues from the Igarashi Castlevania games, but rather than using 3D techniques, Blasphemous is made with true old-school pixel art, and it's one of the most beautiful examples of that medium in existence. The storytelling is very mysterious, but the art, combat, and exploration are all incredible. A full review can be found on my channel, and Blasphemous is available on GOG, Steam, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch, and in this case, the Switch version holds up, so if you're looking for a 2D action exploration platformer to play on the go, this is the one, baby. Valfaris is also a 2D indie game you can find on GOG, Steam, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch, but rather than being a dark, gothic exploration game, Valfaris is a heavy metal action shooter. It's incredibly challenging, but if you have any love for games like Contra, Metal Slug, or Cuphead, you'll feel right at home. What sets Valfaris apart is the interesting interplay between its weapons. You have 3 weapons equipped at all times: a long gun, a pistol, and a melee weapon. The long guns do the most damage, the pistols have unlimited ammo, and the melee weapons obviously have limited range, but attacking with your melee weapon produces ammo for your long gun. This really encourages you to get creative with your tactics, and while the game is rather short, it's a joy to play and has a killer soundtrack. Once again, my full review can be found on my channel. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is not only my personal game of the year, but it's quite possible it's one of my favorite games ever made. Developed by Dark Souls developer From Software, Sekiro flat out has the best sword combat in any action game I've ever played. The parry deflect system is easy to learn, and if you put in the work to master it, you'll feel like a true ninja. The challenge level is steep, but if you've wet your feet with Jedi Fallen Order, the gameplay will feel familiar, and while it may seem daunting at first, if you take the time to learn the enemy attack patterns, the sense of satisfaction you'll get from overcoming those challenges is too wonderful to describe in words. If I had to pick one, Orgasmic probably fits best. The exploration and mobility are also incredible, with Sekiro's grappling hook letting you swing around like Spider-Man. The stealth mechanics are a bit underdeveloped, but they're forgiving enough that if you're having trouble in some of the larger areas, it isn't too tough to skulk around in the shadows and thin the herd a little. Sekiro is available on Steam, Xbox One, and PS4. Once again, you can find a full review of this game on my channel, and I really think it's my best video, so please give it a watch. I may convince you to attempt the challenge which awaits. I'm Marc the Cyborg, and these games were picked by me personally, not Geeks and Gamers as a collective, so don't harass Jeremy on Twitter. If you'd like to harass somebody, harass me at CyborgMarc. I can take the harassment. I actually kind of like the attention.